GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Let's dive into today's top headlines, where the biggest developments are shaping our community, economy, and the world around us.
City officials announced today that residents of Lachine must immediately curb their potable water consumption after the borough was added to Montreal's water conservation vigilance list. The Municipal Water Management Department warned that the current supply strain makes a shutoff impossible, so voluntary reductions are the only tool available. Authorities cited rising demand and lower reservoir levels as the drivers behind the new alert. Household users are being asked to limit indoor flushing, shorten showers, and postpone non-essential watering of gardens until the situation improves. The city's broader campaign has urged all neighborhoods to adopt similar habits, but Lachine now faces the strictest advisory on the island. The warning follows a province-wide drought alert that has already prompted restrictions in several neighboring boroughs. Officials said the measure will be reviewed weekly and could be lifted once reservoir readings return to safe thresholds.
Police across the province executed a coordinated raid this morning that shattered a vehicle theft organization, believed to be tied to the Hells Angels. Officers from the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal, the Sûreté du Québec, and federal partners converged on several locations throughout the island, securing a network that had supplied stolen cars to organized crime crews. Investigators say the ring operated for months, targeting high-value models and moving them across provincial borders. The operation resulted in the arrest of multiple suspects and the seizure of dozens of vehicles and related equipment. Authorities noted that organized crime groups have long been implicated in auto theft schemes across Quebec, and this bust represents a major step in disrupting those networks. The police will continue to pursue any remaining links to the Hells Angels as the investigation unfolds.
Retail giant Dollarama announced today that its latest quarter saw sales climb by more than 20%, a sharp rise that stands out against a backdrop of slipping consumer confidence across Canada. The Montreal-based discount chain said the surge could prompt a revision of its financial outlook if the conflict in Iran drags on and pushes operating costs higher. Executives highlighted that the current boost reflects strong demand for low-price essentials, even as shoppers tighten belts elsewhere. Analysts noted that prolonged geopolitical tensions often translate into higher freight and energy expenses, which could erode margins if the war persists. Dollarama's leadership said they will monitor the situation closely and adjust forecasts accordingly, underscoring the delicate balance between growth opportunities and cost pressures in today's market. Overall retail sales in the country have been falling, making Dollarama's performance particularly noteworthy.
CF Montreal announced today that head coach Patrice Ulafroy will remain at the helm through the conclusion of the campaign. The decision comes after Ulafroy stepped into the role in April, following the departure of former manager Marco Donadel. Club officials said the continuity is intended to give the squad stability as it prepares for the upcoming playoff push. Players and staff were briefed on the move during a press conference at Stade Saputo this morning. Ulafroy, who guided the team through a challenging mid-season stretch, expressed confidence in the roster's ability to improve its standing. The organization emphasized that the announcement reflects confidence in his tactical direction and the work already underway. Fans can expect the coaching staff to stay focused on the remaining fixtures without further disruption this season.
Pascal Vincent announced today that he is stepping down as head coach of the Montreal Rocket after 2 seasons at the helm. The former Canadiens AHL affiliate will be without his guidance as he heads west to join the Seattle Kraken's staff as an assistant coach. Vincent's move marks a shift from leading an AHL team to taking a supporting role in the NHL, a step many see as a chance to work at the highest level of the sport. The Rocket, who finished last season in the middle of the pack, will begin a search for a new head coach while Seattle welcomes the former AHL leader to its bench. Vincent expressed enthusiasm for the new challenge and thanked Montreal fans for their support during his tenure. He also highlighted the hard work of his players and staff, noting that the experience will serve him well in Seattle.
Later, we'll see how Montreal plans to deploy drones over downtown construction sites, a tech boost for safety. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a quick break. Now let's turn to Rashik Reed for the latest local stories that matter to you.
The City of Montreal administration announced it will roll out drone surveillance over downtown construction sites this summer. Small unmanned aircraft will fly over selected projects to confirm that work is progressing as scheduled and to spot any activity that falls outside approved permits. Officials say the aerial checks will help verify completion quickly and reduce the need for on-ground inspections that often cause lane closures and noise. By spotting unauthorized work early, the city hopes to keep traffic flowing and lessen the nuisance for nearby residents and commuters. The program marks the first time municipal officials are using drones for routine oversight of urban development, a step they say brings modern technology to the heart of the city's growth. The drones will operate under privacy guidelines, staying above the rooftops and avoiding direct footage of private spaces. Data collected will be stored securely and used solely for project verification.
The latest financial report shows Quebec has slashed its deficit by roughly 50%, dropping from $13.6 billion to $7.2 billion. The revision was released on June 11th and will be incorporated into the upcoming provincial budget review. Officials say the revised figure reflects tighter spending and stronger tax collections over the past year. For households, the change could mean less pressure on future tax hikes and more room for provincial services such as health care and transit. The government will now have a clearer path to meet its balanced budget target before the next fiscal cycle. Analysts point to lower energy costs and higher employment as contributing factors. Economists note that the sharper outlook improves confidence among local businesses, potentially encouraging new hiring and investment. While the deficit remains sizable, the reduction signals a shift toward fiscal stability for the province.
The province's government has announced a revision to its electric vehicle adoption plan, now aiming for 80% of all new vehicle sales to be electric by 2035. The adjustment lowers the earlier, more ambitious target that had been set for the same horizon. Officials said the change reflects a reassessment of market conditions and infrastructure readiness. Industry analysts note that the new figure still requires a substantial shift in consumer purchasing, dealership inventory, and charging network expansion. For drivers, the policy signals that a growing share of cars on the road will be silent, zero-emission models, potentially affecting fuel costs, parking incentives, and resale values. The target also ties into Quebec's overall climate strategy, which seeks to cut transportation emissions by a significant margin over the next decade. The government will continue to track progress through annual reporting, aligning the goal with broader climate objectives.
On June 11th, Justice Alexander Pless issued an order that blocks the city's plan to dismantle a homeless encampment in Montreal. The judge ruled the removal would violate constitutional guarantees of safety, security, and dignity for those living in the tents. City officials had prepared to clear the site, citing concerns about public health and order, but the court intervened before any action could begin. The decision underscores the legal obligation to protect basic rights, even in temporary shelter settings. Residents of the encampment will remain in place, while the municipality explores alternative solutions that comply with the ruling. Advocacy groups welcome the judgment, saying it affirms the principle that everyone is entitled to humane treatment, regardless of housing status. The ruling may force the city to revisit its broader strategy for addressing homelessness across the island, prompting discussions with social services and legal counsel.
The City of Montreal announced on June 10th that General Manager Benoit Dagenais will depart his post, receiving a severance package exceeding $1 million. The departure comes as the Martinez-Ferrata administration implements a senior management reshuffle. Former Deputy General Manager Alain Dufort has been named to assume the top role, ensuring continuity in day-to-day operations that affect everything from garbage collection to public transit scheduling. City staff and contractors will now report to Dufort, who has been involved in the administration's recent budgeting and infrastructure initiatives. The sizable payout for Dagenais has drawn attention to the municipality's fiscal commitments amid ongoing projects such as road repairs and housing development. Residents can expect the transition to be managed internally with no immediate changes to service delivery, as the new leadership settles into its responsibilities.
Now let's hand it over to our weather team for a quick look at tonight's outlook.
Here's a quick look at tonight's weather and what tomorrow holds for Montreal as you plan your evening and weekend. On this day, the city once sweltered to a record high of 29.6 degrees Celsius back in 2017, a blistering mark set during a lingering heat wave that stretched across the province. Just a year later, in 2018, Montreal surprised everyone with a record low of 8.7 degrees, a chilly dip that arrived with an early autumn cold front. For comparison, the climate normals for June sit around a comfortable 29-degree high and a 17-degree low, reminding us how today's temperatures sit right in the middle of the norm. Right now at 11 p.m., Montreal enjoys a clear sky with a gentle 26-degree temperature and humidity sitting at 76%. A light breeze from the west at 10 kilometers per hour keeps the night comfortable. The low will dip to 21 degrees before sunrise, giving a crisp start to the morning. Daylight will bring a modest high of 29 degrees, with the sun's UV index holding at 5, modest enough for a short sleeve outing but still worth a dab of sunscreen. Winds will peak at 18 kilometers per hour from the southwest, feeling breezy but not disruptive. There are no active weather alerts, so enjoy the calm night and plan tomorrow's activities with confidence. Looking ahead, Friday will warm up to a high of 32 degrees and dip to a low of 17, with a blanket of clouds keeping the sky overcast. Saturday stays cooler at a high of 26 and a low of 17, and there's a 25% chance of rain in the afternoon, so a light jacket and an umbrella might be wise. Sunday brings the most rain of the stretch, with an 85% probability and temperatures holding steady at 26 high and 16 low under overcast conditions. Monday turns partly cloudy and cooler, offering a pleasant high of 20 and a low of 14, perfect for a stroll. Finally, Tuesday remains mild with a high of 17 and a low of 13, and a modest 20% rain chance keeps the day fresh.
We'll check this morning's traffic snarls, preview today's downtown chamber spotlight, and catch a quick sports recap before the break. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
Some hardware and a hard exit, two big Habs stories tonight. Double hardware for Montreal. Captain Nick Suzuki has won the Frank J. Selk Trophy for defensive excellence, while sniper Cole Caulfield took home the Lady Byng Trophy. The NHL announced both awards Friday, according to CBC Sports NHL, a banner day for the Canadiens organization. The Canadiens' playoff run is over. Carolina's Logan Stankoven scored one of 3 first-period goals in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final, helping the Hurricanes eliminate Montreal and punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final, CBC Sports NHL reported. A major signing in women's hockey. According to a person with knowledge of the deal who spoke to the Associated Press, star forward Hillary Knight is headed to PWHL expansion team Detroit via sign-and-trade involving Las Vegas. Sportsnet reported the deal Monday.
On a bright Saturday morning at the bustling Jean Talon market, the scent of fresh croissants mingles with the chatter of families strolling past stalls of bright-colored fruit. At the corner kiosk, Marie, a longtime vendor, pauses as a group of teenagers reaches for a neon-capped can, only to remember the new provincial rule that bars any sale of energy drinks to anyone under 16. She smiles, gently redirects them toward a basket of fresh berries, and watches the teens' laughter rise as they trade the cans for a shared bowl of strawberries. Across the street, a mother of 2 watches her youngest, barely 10, chase a tossed ball without the buzz of caffeine tugging at his focus. The relief on her face is palpable, a quiet affirmation that the province's decision isn't just a line on paper, but a day-to-day safeguard for kids growing up in our neighborhoods. The regulation, backed by fines that can reach $62,500 and double for repeat offenses, sends a clear message. Our community values health over hype. It's a simple change that lets our children play, learn, and thrive together.
On a crisp Saturday morning in the heart of downtown Montreal, the Ville-Marie Tunnel's eastbound ramps, those familiar arteries that spill onto Rue de la Cathédrale, Rue Notre Dame, and Boulevard Robert Bourassa, were cordoned off for the first time in decades. Provincial transport officials stood beside orange barrels, explaining that the closures are part of a broader plan to calm traffic and give space back to pedestrians and cyclists. As the sun climbed above the St. Lawrence, a small crowd gathered near the tunnel mouth, where a local bakery set out fresh croissants on a folding table and a group of teenagers rolled out a portable speaker, filling the air with a low-key indie playlist. A mother guided her toddler across the newly quiet pavement, while an elderly man in a weathered coat paused to watch a street artist sketch the scene in charcoal. The moment that made the day feel worth remembering came when a community choir, assembled on the boulevard, began a spontaneous rendition of La Vie en Rose, their voices echoing off the concrete and drawing smiles from commuters who had paused their rush. It's a modest reminder that when a city slows down, its people find room to breathe.
Thank you, Montreal, for tuning in. Tonight's highlight was the police bust of the auto theft ring tied to the Hells Angels, a real step towards safer streets. Stay with us tomorrow for more of the stories that shape our city, and keep an eye on the latest developments. I'm Peter Miller, signing off.